Guys, it's Katie. I had already started this project, but I decided I should record it just in case it comes out good and it'd be cool to show you. So on my Facebook page, Katie's Polymer Clay Friends, a lady the other day, Valerie, posted a photo, and if you want to see the photo, go there and check it out. It's in color, that has this kind of design, and she's going to make it in color, and I'm going to interpret it in a translucent one, and we're going to see what we both come up with. I think in the future that's what we're going to do for like maybe a monthly challenge. Someone post a photo like art, architecture, another polymer clay piece, something, and then we all interpret it in our own way, because we all see things differently. And then whether they make a pendant, earrings, a bowl, they can make whatever they want, but I want to see what everybody interprets the same photo as. So this photo is kind of like this, and so I'm going to make a cane, a translucent one. And so the first thing I already did, and I'm sorry I already did it, but I did. I took my extruder with the square one, and I'm going to use black for the center here. And I extruded, I'm just going to do two pieces here. And they're little 1-inch squares, so I already extruded those. And next I'm going to wrap them in white. So I just have some Primo white here, and I'm going to get it down on a thinner setting. Again, I'm not sure how this is going to look, so I don't really know what settings to use. I'm just kind of winging it. Yeah, maybe a setting 4 on my Atlas 150 I'll use. Where's my pill bottle that I keep my extruder tips in? I keep my extruder pieces in this old pill bottle. Works really well for all your extruder heads. And I'm going to wrap each one of these in this white, because black next to translucent tends to look a little gray. So if you wrap it in white, you'll get a better, kind of a clearer looking translucent. So I'm just roughly getting the length of this. And I don't know if you just saw that, but I always taper in. I was going like diagonally. I always just do that. I don't know why I do it, but I do it. And I'm just going to set this guy on here. Now, if this comes out good, you could make more than 2 squares. That's just what I was going to start with, because I don't really know how this is going to turn out. And I don't want to waste a lot of clay. So let me just pick this up. And I'm just going to, and if I have a little excess, that's okay. I can cut it off after. I'm just going to try to lay this guy on here. If you hear that noise in the background, my fiance's outside weed whacking, so. Cut that right on the corner there. And I really want it to be a square, so I'm trying to really keep it a square. I'm going to wrap both of these the same way. And if you've seen any of my other translucent videos, the reason why I work in the small pieces, like with the circle cane that I did, is because if I were to work in a big square and wrap it and reduce it down to this size, I'm going to get a lot more waste. And I'd rather try to minimize my amount of waste and already start in a small size. So that's the only reason why I'm starting in a small size here, so I don't have as much waste. I just had to get this a little wider. This one's a little bit slightly longer, so just re-rolled out my clay. It's hot today again, so everything's really sticky. It's funny because like we just did the cane challenge on one of my groups, and some people are in midwinter while other people are smack dab in the middle of summer like I am. So it was on Jessima's or Samantha Burrows' Facebook page. I think it's Jessima Designs. That's what I always call it. And they're in Australia, and it's the middle of winter there for them. So, wow, I'm a little shaky today. Maybe I should eat some lunch. So they're like not struggling with this like we are right now, but yet when they get hot, they're going to be struggling. So it just kind of depends on what time of year it is for you. Polymer clay can be quite tricky when it gets really, really hot out. It just makes you struggle a little bit more. And again, I really want this to stay square, so I'm just trying to smush the corners and get it to actually follow the corner around. Now I have a little hanging over here, so I want to cut this off right there. I don't want to get any of the black in it. If I can help it. Okay. Trying to keep all the air out of it, so that's why I'm kind of pushing it around as I go to make sure it kind of stays a square, not a circle. Now everybody kind of gets, no one's posted this in my group, but other videos I've watched, the people say, I'm being careful with my blade, and I assume it's because people have said, are you being careful with your blade? You could cut yourself. You can cut yourself with clay blades. When they're new, they're crazy sharp. One, mine's not new, and two, even if I cut myself, it's not the end of the world. I'm going so gently that I'm not going to cut straight through my finger. I might nick it a little bit, but I'm not going to, it's going to be like a paper cut. And they're such sharp cuts that they're like, they don't even hurt that bad. If you've ever done it. I think I've only done it when I first opened my first clay blade. Trying to get it out of the packaging, I cut myself. And I was like, wow, that cut easy. But it wasn't the end of the world. Okay, so there we go. We got two little squares here that are going to be the center of my design. Now, I'm going to want some black and white lines, so I need a stack of sheet. That's what I'll do next. But then I need to figure out how to get the translucent. I don't know how to get the translucent. We'll figure it out. We'll have to work it out together. So I'm just rolling out a sheet. And because I'm stacking black on white, I'm thinking I'm going to do... If this was on my setting 4 that we wrapped here, I don't want the double thickness. I think I might go down to a 6 maybe and do a 6 in white and a 6 in black and layer them. So it's just a thin layer. Maybe that's too thin. Maybe I'll do a 5. Scratch that. I'm going to do a 5. And again, I've never made this cane, so I'm kind of working it out as I go. I have a hard time practicing and then making a cane again just to show you. I love you all, but that's a lot of clay to use. I'd rather make another cane to use in a project because I only make a handful of pendants or whatever each time I'm doing it. So I don't need 50,000 canes of one design. I just don't. So I just had to condition that a hair, and then I'll roll this through my number 5. Let's see, so it definitely needs to be at least as tall. Let me just make this a little fatter by layering it and putting it through my machine like this. I'll just make it a little fatter. Now I also don't want to waste it by stacking it on top of each other yet. So big thing is I have to get a strip as tall as the square I'm going to be using. Roughly. I'd rather have it a little bigger than skinnier. Okay. God, I'm shaky today. I can't even get anything to do what I want it to do. Probably I should eat lunch. Okay, so there's one. And I don't know how many of these I'm going to need. This is on setting 5 on my Atlas, 150. And the same thing with the black. I'm going to be posting a tutorial where I made these pendants. There's a couple more in the UV light right now. And that uses that Bargello technique I just showed. Okay, so now we're going to layer these, or we have them ready to layer. But right now I just can't set a line and expect it to stand up on its own. So I need to get some translucent out. So the translucent is going to be this part here. And then the white and black stack are going to be these lines here. So I have to get a translucent out. I wish I had a hollow bead maker or something. Make 4 semi-squares, but then they also have this right angle in them. So I got to make this shape somehow. That's going to be the trouble part. And then I'll add the layer of black and white. So I got to figure out how to do that. So let me get some translucent out and get it conditioned. I'll be right back. Just tried making a square out of my extruder and cutting a right angle out and fitting it over here. That's not going to work. So then my next thought is to take a piece of translucent. Let me cut it roughly to the length or the height, strip of it. We're going to see if this works. I don't know if this will even work. I'm kind of just figuring it out as I go. My thought was, even though this isn't fully thick enough, if I lay a piece on here, right, get the width of it, maybe I should double it up now. And let me cut 2, roughly the width. Okay, 1. I'll stack them so I double the thickness. Then my thickest setting of my pasta machine. Stack those 2 together so I have a thickness like that. And that would go on one side, right? And if we do that all the way around, then I can just cut this little guy in half and add the lines in there, in the middle. I don't really want to squish it on there yet. I'm just trying to get it almost to the shape of exactly what I need. Okay. And then the black and white line goes in the middle here. So if I make a bunch of those, put the line in, another one there, then I'd get the line. So let me do a couple of these and I will be back. So I'm going to cut 4 of those so I can fit all the way around my thing. Okay, so now I have 2 thicknesses. I have 4 double thicknesses of setting 0, and that will sit around. This is how I think I'm going to do it. I'm not going to stick it on really hard. I'm just going to gently set it on there. That will sit around like this. Okay, and then I can put my black and white sheets in. And then after, I can fill in these corners pretty easily because they're just like little squares. I think that's what I'll do. So now what I need to do is take these and split them in the half down the middle, and that's where we'll put our black and white strip in there. So let me stand everything up so I can see exactly what I'm doing, because I want the black and white to go in the same direction each time. Okay, so it's going to go like that. Let me move this. I might as well just stack it all because I'll probably use it all. Okay. The reason why I'm cutting like this is I'm trying not to get any black in my white, any white in my black. Okay, so then what we'll do is we'll cut these in half. And again, the camera is right in my face, so. Okay, cut that in half. And we're going to lay in the middle of that this black and white. So take a piece of it, I'll lay it on here. And these are pretty small pieces, which again make it a little harder to use. But I didn't know if I was going to be able to pull this off, so I'm going to line these up like that. And this is going to make it, oops, there's a little piece of black. This is going to make it wider than what it was, but that's okay because I can trim off just the translucent, was my thought afterwards. And have it go like that. Okay. And then so I'll do that with all of these pieces, okay? And I'll be back when I'm done with that. Okay, so I've done all of that. And the reason why I kept them standing up is so I could make sure the white was going in the same direction each time. So like the 2 top ones have the white going that way, these ones have it going up. Okay, so now that that's done, I can begin setting them along my piece. If they'll fit, if they won't, then I'll have to trim off the little bit of translucent. So I think they'll end up being too wide. So that means I'm going to have to take this, lay it down, just do that, and then I'll set my piece on it, and I'm looking from the side to make sure it's the line, the black and white strip is centered on each end here, or at least the best I can. And then this will just be pure translucent that we can keep. A little speckle of white on it, that won't really matter. And if you have a better way to do this, I totally do it your way. This is the first time I've done it, so you know there may be totally better and easier ways. I'm just kind of giving you an idea of what I'm doing. So sometimes people post like, oh, you could have done it this way to make it easier. Well, totally, go for it. Just have fun, do it. I did it this way, and that was just the way I did it. So it's, when you do it however you want to do it. If you think up in your head a better way to do it, then yeah, have at it. This was just the way I was thinking up, and I'm thinking it up on the fly, really. I mean, no one gave me a tutorial to watch to do this. I mean, on other tutorials like my rose cane, I watched a bunch of tutorials, took their methods, kind of merged a bunch of methods, added a little bit of my own to make it easier for me. On this one, there is no tutorial on this for me to watch, so I don't have anybody's methods to see first to kind of grow off of. So, you know, it is what it is. After I do this for the first time, I may find an easier way for myself to do this. But you got to start somewhere, right? Can't all be perfect the first time you make something. Sometimes it comes out perfectly. I've had some flower canes that I've never watched a tutorial, and they came out amazing with just my idea in my head. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes I go, oh yeah, I would have totally done it that way. That would have been way easier. So now that I have them done, I'm going to set them on there, looking at both sides. Trying to get the lines centered, and I'm trying to get my edges of my translucent touching best I can. And I'm trying to make sure my lines look even. Okay, so I'm going to gently push it together now, because that's now what I want. Okay, so now what we need to do is fill in the corners with translucent. And that won't be so hard. You just, either you could extrude it. I bet I could extrude that. And that's going to be about the same size. Yeah, maybe I'll just extrude it. That might be easier. Let me get my extruder out with that square one. And I'm just going to stick a square in there. Or maybe the triangle might be too small though. The triangle tip. Rather than make something, the extruders are so easy. I may just take the square one again. unscrewing my extruder. Where did my square tip go? You just put a little in there to see if it will work. Just had it out. Oh, there it is. Let's just extrude one and see what we get. Like that. Exactly what I was thinking. And then all I need to do now is just, because it was too long, and one side's a little wide, I won't push on it too much until I get the rest in there so I don't move everything, but look, I mean, that filled it right in fairly easily. And then in these little spots right here, this white, when we reduce, should push out into there and make this look a little more square. Same with right here, same with right here. This is a nice square corner, but these got kind of rounded, so leaving this little space here, my white, when I reduce, should push out in there to make that square, that corner a little sharper. Okay, so I'm going to do the rest for the rest of the corners, and then I'll be back. Okay, so I have them all in there. Now some of them are sticking out a little bit, so I'm going to just trim that off now. Because now everything's supporting each other, you can actually put a little pressure on it without squishing one thing more than another. So I didn't really want to mess with it too much until I got everything in there to support each other. And I want to make sure my ends are fairly even. Again, the camera's my way. Yeah. Look, I did it. Okay, so there's one. And then the goal was to, well, I could do that. No. So in the photo, it had a wide border around each one. So I should wrap it with a border. Now, I don't know what she's going to do with color. Not quite sure at all, but I'm thinking maybe I'll just go black and white. And I'm going to put the white on the inside because that will make the translucent look lighter. So this should be just wide enough to fit that. And then everything I'm going to repeat on my other one, and then I'll have two to put together and reduce together. And then when I cut them, like in cane slices, I can put two together to make 4, 6, 8, you know, whatever. But I won't reduce this too much, just a little bit. I'll keep that because I can probably use that. Right there. least add a little strip of black right there, just to kind of cover it up. I wonder if I can cover that white up. I have a little scrap right here. Let me see if I can cut a little of that black off just to cover this white up so it's just black. Hair in my nose. I'm pretty happy with that. I can't believe I figured this out from her photo. Challenged myself, and I'm coming up with something that I'm pretty happy with so far. I mean, I don't know what it's going to look like at the end, but at this moment it's not looking too bad. And then I'll cut these off to even everything up. Okay, there's one of my squares done. And I didn't want to make this pattern get too small, so that's why I'm doing two separate ones, and then I'll put them together and reduce them as like a rectangle shape. So I'll do everything I just did with this one to this one. Ooh, look at that. It's uneven. Oh, that side looks a little better. But you see that? Those two lines, they're a little uneven. I noticed that. I don't think anybody else will really notice that. So, anyways, there's one. Very excited about this one. I'm glad I'm working it out to her photo. Right? That looks pretty similar. Yay. Cool, cool. So I'll finish that other one with this other one I started, and I will be back when that's done. Okay, so now I got both made. And my goal is to stick them both together and then reduce them kind of as a rectangle. Just trying to make sure these lines are even, and then also I want the colors to go the right way. So the white needs to go up and to that side. Okay. Looks fairly good. Yeah, that one was a little off, but it won't die. No one will die from that. Okay, so we're going to begin reducing this, and I'm just going to start off by just squishing them together a little bit. And then I don't want to reduce it to a small amount at first. I want to leave it quite large because I want to see the pattern and I want to make projects with that. So I'm just going to be reducing to start with a block. An acrylic block. You could also push on it with your hand, you know, with your palm. You kind of just want to get it all packed together so you can't see all the stuff we did to the translucent. You know, that's the main goal. It's kind of just like reducing a square, just kind of longer. I'm going as slowly as I possibly can, not putting crazy amounts of pressure in any which direction, so I can try to keep it as square as possible. So there I was just pinching the centers more, and now I'm kind of pinching the edges. You also want to flip it, and that way one hand is not just working on one side. Just kind of do everything as evenly as possible. Remember, you have 4 sides. That might almost be enough of what I want. So then I'm going to take my block and just try to even everything off. All my fingerprints and lumps and stuff. And this will give me exactly what I was looking for once we cut into it. So, and again, you should really, really let this rest. I mean, you could keep reducing this pattern down a lot thinner and make it a lot smaller, but at this point I don't know what I'm going to use it for, so I'd rather leave it larger than make it smaller, because I can always bring it down if I want. And then the thought would be to layer this up. Oh, that wasn't a perfect slice, but that's okay. It would be to like layer it so you have a repetitive pattern over and over and over. Like that. I think it looks pretty cool. Yeah, I got a little, you know, I should have brought that white around. But for the first time making this cane, I'm actually quite happy with it. And I think, you know, on a piece of clay, once the translucent goes translucent, that might be pretty cool. And at some point I'll reduce it down smaller, and that might be a cool one for like a seam on a pendant, you know, like to put along a seam if you get it small enough. Which this can totally be reduced down small. I wanted to show Valerie the design so she could see it from the photo she was going from. So ultimately, this base is really, really thin compared to the other one. That would be the design. Now I gotta think of how to actually use it in a project. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. That's what I was going for. So have fun with your translucent canes. You can use them for all types of things, you know, just like the leaf and stuff. You can use these for all kinds of things. Like this is a translucent cane. I just used green and blue behind it. So you can get all kinds of neat, fun projects out of it. I really do like translucent canes a lot myself. So I hope this tutorial was helpful. I'm sorry I had to kind of figure a few things out for myself first. Again, if you can come up with an easier way of doing it, definitely do that. This was just my first time making it, so I had to kind of work through the kinks myself because I've never watched a tutorial on it. But yeah, I hope this was helpful. If it was, please like, share, subscribe so you can see any of my upcoming ones. Share my page in your groups. Also, I do have a Facebook page if you do make any of my projects or kind of use them, not make them, but use them in any of yours. I'd like to see what you come up with and how you changed it. So I have a Facebook page. It's Katie's Polymer Clay Friends. Please join that as well. Okay, I'll see you next time, guys. Bye.